Yeah.
Hi, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
We've been driving around and talking about all the scams that we heard back in the 70s.
Right.
Now, what was the one you were going to tell me?
Yeah, how we would be having to...
Oh, conserving energy.
Right.
My uncle told me that they really went after people with septic tanks up along Hood Canal, but they let Weyerhaeuser and just other companies or Cascade Pole here just dump tons of creosotes,
Right.
or even the military, right? With their depleted uranium dumps. They even had divers who photographed them doing it from underwater, you know.
Right.
And I was talking about Jimmy Carter. One of his aides recently wrote a book, and he was telling everyone to freeze to death, and it was like the worst winter ever in Chicago, and he told everyone to just turn everything down. And I guess the White House was at 85 degrees because oh, look at this little dog down there. They're playing with the doggy. That's sweet.
Yeah.
Here we are, and you know, again, this only exists because it makes these useless politicians rich. They're worse than useless. They're vultures.
They are.
And they've taken away the morale of everyone.
Oh yeah.
I only see American people here because if you're from another country, you get all the money you want here.
Right.
So there really is a genocide happening, and you see it when you're down here.
Yeah, you do.
And it's not that only Americans are like drug addicts or bad, you know, whatever.
Right.
And I'm kind of getting tired of that. I lived in a really rich area north of Chicago, right in the 70s, and to show off their wealth, people had a giant wet bar. Often 2 or 3, you know. There's like one in the den, there's one in the basement, there's like, you know, they were just like all over the place, you know. And they would serve Harvey Wallbangers on the Long Island Express, right?
Right.
When I first went to college out there. The booze flowed, you know.
Oh yeah.
And people, of course, bragged about doing cocaine, you know, that no Hollywood movie has ever been made without cocaine. I met a bookkeeper, not just met, we were close friends in New York, Fran, and as a bookkeeper, her job, even for a David Bowie tour that she wound up on as the bookkeeper for David Bowie, and her job was to hide the coke money. To figure out to cook the books, like, you know, like to somehow hide the coke money, because the coke money was like a huge expense, you know. So it's funny that they kind of talk about, you know, drivers, I guess that's one of their lingo terms, being addiction when, and you know, I was in the law firms which were considered boring. Well, maybe not too boring in the 80s with the mergers and acquisitions, but like, you know, the advertising people were all taking LSD to get like a creative idea for like menstrual tampon ad or whatever. And where we were, it was not victim culture like it is now. It was the opposite. You were an LD, called Olympia, which who even cares if you're a woman, but they still use it. Not where but like people in like Morgan, like Guarantee or Goldman Sachs and stuff, I guess, use that term. We didn't at our firm, but there was something about you could stay up, you could do it, you know. It's weird. It's like kind of pre-Red Bull, but like, you know, I remember like we would be like, you know, I pulled a 40-hour shift, you know, and didn't sleep. Like, it was a weird kind of high, like some kind of Woodstock or something. Oh my God, where was I going with it? I'm so sorry. I worked next to people who would be doing a ton of coke, and I would look at them and say, you're doing more coke than you're making an hour. Like, what are you doing? Like, you're proofreading, you know?
Right.
But like, and there was even a joke about some guy that did like speedballs, like they were the lawyers were speedballing, and that one summer there was a lawyer who like speedballed and did coke at the same time, whatever, and leaned up against like some urinals and like pulled the urinal out of the wall, and it was like a funny joke, right?
Right.
So these people are homeless for more than just like, you know, like, oh, they took to drink. I've been watching Jack the Ripper. I don't know why Jack the Ripper videos are showing up.
Right.
Maybe it's because of the election. I don't know. But they keep talking about how these women took to drink. And I'm like, what about the men?
Yeah,
the men are all okay. They can be in the gentleman's club. Right. They can have their, you know, their port, their ale.